Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to look at some positions which are very basic in nature and it will be like checkmate in one. So we'll try to find checkmate in one positions. Okay, so let's get onto the board and so we have a position right now. So black king is on h3 and white has a king and a queen and we have to do a checkmate in one. So let's look at the ways to do it. Now there are different ways in which we can give a check, right? So the queen can go on h8 and give a check, but then the king will escape. The queen can again come on h7 or it can come on h6, and for all these three options the king can escape to g2, right? There can be another way to give a check, which is from d7 do a check, but then this will not be useful at all. The black king can escape here or here, right? So the best way here is to do a checkmate with checkmate on g3. If the queen comes g3, it's a checkmate, right? Even if you go on g4 will not help because then the king will escape. Okay, so the best move here is queen g3 checkmate. All right, so that was the easy one. Let's go to the other position. Okay, so it is white to move and checkmate in one. Can you try to find? So first of all, we'll try to see what are the various ways in which we can give a check to the black king, right? And we have to find the best way to checkmate in just one move. Okay, so white to move. So white can even go on b3 and give a check, but then the king will escape, right? So this is not going to work. Even if this knight comes, gives a check, will not help. The king will escape, right? Even if it tries to go here, the king will still escape, right? So these two pieces will not help. The two knights are not going to help. So we'll have to find something with the bishop. I think if the bishop comes on c3 and then gives a check, let's see if this is a checkmate, right? The king cannot escape to a6 because knight controls. King cannot come on b5 because the pawn controls. The king cannot come on this diagonal, which is b4, because bishop controls, and the king cannot come on a4 because the knight controls. So yes, this is the checkmate. So let's play the move. So bishop c3 checkmate. Okay. Now let's move to the other position. Okay, again a very simpler one, should not take you much time. So white to play and do a checkmate in one. So black king is on a file and two kings are facing each other, which means the king can never come to the king because two kings cannot come closer to each other. There has to be a gap of at least one square. All right. So therefore the rook will go on a5 and do a checkmate in one. That was easy. So let's go to the other position. I'll try to make it a bit tricky. So this time again it's white to play and do a checkmate in one. Okay, so how does white play so that it does a checkmate? There are various ways in which we can do it. So the rook can come on f1 and give a check, right? But it won't be a checkmate because the bishop can capture the rook, so it doesn't work. Rook can come here on d2, gives a check, but then the king can capture the rook, so the rook doesn't help. Let's try to use the knight. Knight can give a check with coming on b2, that's a check, but then the black king will escape to e1. So therefore the rook and the knight cannot give a check. Let's try with the bishop. The only way the bishop can give a check is to come on b3. It checks the king. Let's see if the black king has an escape square. The black king cannot come on e1 or on c1 because the knight is controlling, and the black king cannot come on rank 2 because the rook is controlling. So therefore the bishop checkmate is the right move. So let's play the bishop b3, and that is going to be the checkmate. Okay, let's put one more position, one or two more positions. Let me put something more interesting. Okay, it's white to play and checkmate in 1 again. White has 2 bishops. One is a light square bishop, one is a dark square bishop, and black king is in the corner on a8. It has a pawn in front, which means it can't come here, and then it has a rook on the other corner, which is on h8. So it's white to play and do a checkmate. Now the black king is on a light square, which means only a light square bishop can give a check. Okay, so if this bishop gives a check on e4, let's see if that's a checkmate. So the black king cannot come on b8 because the bishop is defending it, right? Is controlling it. So therefore let's put the bishop on e4, and that's a checkmate. All right, so let's do one last position. We'll try to keep it more trickier. Okay, here we go. All right, so white to play and checkmate in 1. So white has 3 pieces, 2 rooks and a bishop, and black has 2 pieces, a queen and a bishop, and then white has 1 pawn and black has 3 pawns. So let's look at the position. One move checkmate. So the rook is controlling the entire b file, which means the king cannot come on b file, and the other rook is also controlling the rank 7, which means the black king cannot move at all, which means if there is something that can give a check to the black king in the same position, the black king cannot move, and that would be a checkmate. And the only other piece that white has is the bishop. So let's try with the bishop. So if the bishop goes on e4, that's a check. And since 2 rooks are controlling the rank 7 and the b file, and there is nothing which can capture the bishop, or there is nothing that can block the check, therefore it will be a checkmate. All right, so let's see. Let's play the move. So bishop on e4 is a checkmate. There is nothing that can block this check. There is nothing that can capture the checking piece. So therefore it is a checkmate. I hope you found this video nice and you enjoyed the video. Look forward to see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.